Hi, welcome back. Here we are checking out Steve's latest creation, which is this port of a ray tracing application from the Amiga. We'll check out the application first. And this is 1.2 of the ray tracing source. Drag across into PlayBasic. It's the easiest way to go about it. Apologies for the rain outside, can't do much about it. There's rain all over the country at the moment. Now I know if I run this, it's going to pretty much choke the entire system. So I'll make a few mods straight off the bat. In this initialization section, I'll drop the screen size down to that, I'll go to 1380. And pull off, go 900 in size. Hopefully this will still capture if I run it, so I think it's important to see this. So hit F5. And here we are, doing absolutely nothing. Hope that's capturing. Right. Now I kind of know why this happens. I knew why it was happening straight away, but I think it's important for people to see. This is the real byproduct of not managing the state properly. And by state, I mean when buffers are locked and released, etc. We get a performance that's choked because the video driver behind is unable to lock the surface quickly and do the action and release it. Right, so what's causing this? It's these batches of drawing. When we do, the most obvious thing there is all of the lines being drawn. So if we do a bit of a search for line, there's a function that draws the wireframe shapes, of course. That's what I'm looking for. Right, we're gonna drawing a plane, it's drawing two lines there. There you go, we've got a loop going on here. I don't know what it's stepping in this direction here, but it's probably very small fragments. Our initial problem is this buffer locking. See how when we're drawing all of these line fragments, who knows how many fragments, but I'm guessing a lot. But we're not managing the state. So we're changing the font. So what we'll do is we'll have a lock to the surface here. Down the bottom. Unlock it. Thank you. Unlock buffer. Now, that should mean the rendering is our speed now is impacted really a direct indication of how long the lines take to draw and clip, not how long the surface takes to lock and release. If the buffer's not locked when we call line, it has to lock the draw surface, wait for that lock, draw the pixels, release the surface, and then if the loop's quick again, you actually end up with this dead state situation. Don't ask me why it's set up like that. It's just how the drivers work. They suck. That's why generally now I don't do anything that's not. I try not to use anything that's system related. I just do it all in software. Let's run it again and see how terrible we are this time. Ran straight away. So we've got some responsiveness too. So we're actually. Our display loop is going pretty well, and it's not too bad there, is it? I'll try and just end program. Yes, thanks. The points we want to touch on is anywhere we're doing batches of drawing. So see, even there, like we're drawing two boxes. To what surface? I have no idea. If we're drawing back to the screen, the temptation is to assume that that's going to be done by your video card. That will be the case on some old drivers, and that will actually happen in what's called asynchronous mode. So when the draw or the bit blitz called, from my perspective, you pretty much you say, hey, draw me a box here, and then it gets passed off to the driver to do in the background. And ideally what you should be doing is doing a bunch more calculations in here, do other stuff, and then draw your next box. That means that we get two things occurring at once because the drawing is asynchronous by the GPU. That's the old days. The modern drivers don't seem to work like that at all. They seem to all be synchronous, making it sort of clunky and frustrating. So old optimizations where things are overlapping, whether it's designed to be asynchronous rendering, don't seem to work very well. Lovely, isn't it? My point is that if you're going to draw boxes and on the one surface, and if these are big blitz, okay, probably use the video card to do that. But if they're smaller blitz, I can't really tell here because I don't really know what's going on with it. It's probably best to lock the surface and do those yourself. Let's go and tackle some other things. What I noticed as well is there was issues with rendering off to a secondary surface. Well, I hope we're drawing everything to that surface, but I don't think we are, because when the fonts were set up, I was looking at it before. Was it in there? No, there it is. Right, there's a video. I was talking about before about this asynchronous rendering stuff, is that the GPU likes, from our perspective, drawing an image is nothing more than doing a bit plet, and you make a request and this gets passed through to the driver, and the driver implements the actual copying of the data itself. We don't touch that at all. You can't. That's the whole point of having having an API being abstracted from the hardware. That's the whole point. In the old days of the 16-bit systems, 8-bit systems, you'd learn the hardware and bang it yourself and just do whatever you wanted, wherever you wanted. You can't do that anymore. You've got to play nice. So when we do have a font, we convert that to being... so each character becomes a small block to blit. So what we're actually doing is we're doing a whole bunch of tiny little blits to draw text in that particular font. I guess this is for the text menus kind of stuff. There's a lot of them there too. I'm not really sure why we need that many. But in general, I would never do that anymore. No, because the drivers are unpredictable behaviors. It's more efficient generally to use CRF fonts, which is another bitmap type of font, and they're compressed raster. They support colorization, blending if you want it, etc. Yeah. Which is mode 8. And they can be drawn to any surface. Now, when we draw video text, this is not stored on the GPU, it's memory inside the video card. We hope it is anyway, but who knows where it actually is. Because memory is managed in weird ways inside the system. If we have an effects surface, which is a software representation of our image in system memory, so the processor is local to system memory, it's not local to GPU memory. If we want to draw text onto a effects image, we can do it. There's support for it. I think it was added at some point as a last-ditch resort to stop people from doing it. Basically, it means that you've got to be fetched from video memory, copied into system memory, back. That's the slowest possible copy you can make inside the system. On old systems, it's like 100 to 1. That's how slow that bus is. The bus is designed to send data to the GPU. It's not designed to pull it back. Sucks, but yeah. So anyway, I'd use this will probably change some of the behavior of the I'm assuming it's the menus. I'm assuming that's when we do an ink there, it's going to bake in the color from the ink. I'll just see if that works anyway. Because, you know, why not? It didn't die. That's good. It's always good when it doesn't crash. Right. Very laggy there. See that? The menu looks fantastic, actually. I love the colouring. I love the idea that the inverse space. Can we end that for there? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Go. Right, so I guess the menu stuff will be the same issue. Let's go to main. Where's the menu? Draw, new? Draw, I'm sorry, menu, draw. Let's go to that. Yep. Let's do that. So we'll lock the buffer. With things like bitmap fonts, you can't really lock buffers and those things because they're managed by the system, and it actually it waits till the buffer is unlocked before you do it. Yeah, it drives you nuts, this stuff. So there's heaps of drawing here going on. We've got shade boxes and different fonts being used and all that good stuff. Let's do it right at the end there. Just unlock it. See how we go. See our menus. Much better. So it's not wasting time asking please and thank you. The text looks a bit not quite as clean because we're rendering with CRF and we haven't told it what kind of rendering mode to use. That's one of the differences with CRF mode in particular. Nonetheless, who cares? I would probably do. Hopefully it's not drawing the whole scene all the time. Hopefully it's not doing that. It wouldn't need to. It would just draw the buffer once, surely, and then do. I guess you could do like a fragmented update if you really were conscientious about doing that. As in, you know, drawing part of the scene every couple of frames, and then like drawing one object this frame, or X number of polygons this frame, and then dumping out, building up the composite, and then flipping the buffer for this back buffer here. Let's check it rendering. Let's go with shadows. Come on, dude. There you go. Now, when I first tested this yesterday, it took probably about an hour to get to a point where it was here. Yeah, it was that slow. But this is fantastic. You know, it's incredible, really. I mean, the quality is really nice as well, which is really good. I mentioned before that I bumped into a source code on one of the basic forums on Facebook. It was just happened to be one that was showing, you know, sort of Facebook will show you bits and pieces. There you go. Pretty cool. The outer stuff I don't really know much about how that's working. I don't know any of what any of this stuff does. So start editor, parameter, projection point. I don't know if this is implemented or not, or what's going on. I know some of this is kind of placeholder. So, well, I don't know that. I'm just kind of guessing that because there was placeholder bits in some of those functions in here. Was it in here? Oh, there's another situation there where we should be managing our buffer state much better. So we'll put, and they're not big things to do. Often it's just wrapping things up with those around them, and then thinking how you go about rendering stuff. Editor objects drawer. Okay, this must be right. So this is some sort of structure about what objects are in the scene. I don't know. It's actually risky doing that, having a floating point comparison with one. FPUs are really dodgy with comparisons. Right, so we've got different modes there. So we can do drawing a plane, drawing a sphere. Let's check it out. Draw ellipse. Don't know what this is doing. Number of lines, compute angle, okay, draw a line, function call. Last point of the line. Oh yeah, it's got like a line 2 sort of thing. Alright, hang on, sorry. We'll just draw ellipse. Alright, we'll just go here. We'll lock our buffer and manage it on this level here. So that seems appropriate for this because we're doing number of lines and then drawing for each line we're drawing a batch, was it? Anyway, but we'll prevent some locking and prevent some sort of hiccups just by doing that. I don't have a clue what this is actually doing. Same as this section here. You know, just simple things. This is drawing this must be drawing a plane for the visualization in the editor. Is it? At least it's terrifying. Oh, that's right. I remember saying this before, going, "Wow, what is that doing?" Convert real value into string, rounded to 3 decimal places. I, real value, string. Wouldn't you just use val? Just saying. There's probably some reason you don't, but anyway, doesn't matter. What are we looking for? Oh. More text. Oh, that's the editor. Actually, if we just do a lock there, lock buffer. So when we we'll try the editor again in a second. I don't know what the keys are. Have you ever looked at light? Is it Light Shop? No. Lightwave. Back in the Amiga days, a mate of mine bought that, and he was like, "This is fantastic software, and it's really powerful." I said, "Yeah, it's great." You know, I had no idea what he's talking about, and he goes, "Yes, you know how I can tell it's really powerful because it has lots of buttons." I went, "Oh, okay." Now, does this mean the options are not done or not? I don't know. Or is it not picking up the option or lines? Is it doing something? No, I don't know. I just don't. Oh, there you go. All right, that's fine. Oh, very nice. So I quit down here. It's like, yeah, it does. Very nice. All right, this is the same old stuff we've talked about a million times before. I know the code's ported. I know it's difficult to port from Amiga BASIC, and I'm not in any way having a dig. Just want to remind everyone when they write something that of the importance of maintaining or managing the buffer state yourself. If you do lots of batches of renders, you might get away with it on your system. Fair enough. For the sake of sanity of other people, make sure you manage it. Make sure you manage those things for them. And if you can, try not to emulate things that are built in. It's really not a great practice. Sometimes it works out better, but often it works out really bad. God, it must have been a mess porting this thing. Apparently it was written in Amiga BASIC, and I've never seen the original. The example I saw posted on one of the Facebook groups, the BASIC Facebook groups the other day, I think it might have been a smaller version of this, because it showed the guy was showing a scene that was pretty much the default scene, you know, a bunch of spheres. So all it supported was a ground plane and sphere intersections, but it was written for the Spectrum, I think it was, which I thought was fascinating. So I was going to port it. Okay, so these are actually system calls, are they? What's the graphic cursor at selected position? Oh wow, yeah, that would have been fun. Public name static, piece, PlayBasic, function. Label, yeah, it's all basic stuff. Color, blur. Yeah, back in the old days where 640 was massive resolution. Compressed into a string. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. This comes from one of those blue books. I've got a couple of them. One of the ones, I think there's one that was a Amiga machine language, and one was like an advanced programmer's reference guide. From, again, about the 90s. Would have been early 90s. Anyway, enough of me bumbling on about this. Very cool. Actually, not very cool. It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, just to reiterate, we've got a ray tracer running in pretty much, 1280 by 900, doing reflections in 30 seconds? In an interpreted language like PlayBasic. Pretty scary, isn't it? And I'll bet that, you know, some of the math functions in here are, because we're talking about the Amiga version, they would be not particularly optimal for what PB does. You know, so there's probably functions in here that are being emulated that don't really need to be. So cool. Thanks for watching. Thanks for Steve for making this thing. You're mental, man. You're absolutely mental. I'm glad you stuck it out and got this thing to work, because the process of porting this sounds just really terrible. I thought I was having dramas porting Blitz Basic, but this takes the cake. Anyway, thanks for that, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.